Hi, and welcome to Vinyasa Flow Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. For today's hip opening, spinal twisting practice, playing with balance, grab a couple of yoga blocks. You might find that useful at least, and maybe a blanket to sit on as we start. Let's begin in an auspicious pose in which you place your legs out in front of you and turn out the thighs, crossing the shins in some way that's comfortable for you. So in the past and in the recent past, we've talked about what the Yoga Sutras calls the root causes of suffering. And in Sanskrit, they're called kleshas. And there are 5 kleshas talked about. One is avidya, which means ignorance, right? It's the inability to distinguish between real and not real, permanent and impermanent. And 2 is asmita, which translates as egoism. Forgetting our true nature and being dominated by our egos. The third is raga, which means clinging or attachment, running after things that you deem pleasant. And the fourth is devesha, which is aversion, running away from and avoiding what you might deem unpleasant. And then the last klesha is called the binavesha, which is the fear of death. The fear of great loss, the fear of this death of this physical body, but death in different ways in stages of life. So bringing that to mind, here is an excerpt from Meditations from the Mat. Our training, this yoga training, can bring us back into the moment. The kleshas merely catalog the afflictions of a false world. Our practice trains us to live in the real one. The mind is as hard to master as the wind. If we try to outthink it or to figure it out, we will forever be like a dog chasing its tail. The mind wanders, like in the yoga practice as well, and we gently bring it back. That is all. The other world, the world of the kleshas, the world in which we wage a perpetual war against reality, is not real. We note it and return to the real. There is nothing to master because there is nothing there. So it's a great summary of what the kleshas are: illusions. And the yoga practice is so much about clearing away falsehoods and coming back to our direct experience with reality, back to our breath, which is happening in the now, back to what's happening in our physical body, which never lies. The mind can interpret in so many ways, thus creating these illusions, these fears, these aversions, these attachments. But when we can drop that storyline and come back to, what am I feeling in this physical body? What's coming up in the breath? Repeatedly, we sharpen that ability to clarify in whatever circumstance, yoga pose or off the mat. So let's be still. Ground to your pelvis, sit tall through the spine, and relax your body. Begin to listen to it. What sensations are arising, shifting, lingering, waning? Feel the sensations of the breath as it naturally comes and goes. Sensing your energetic state of being. Sensing your mental and emotional state of being. And when a new thought arises, observe how it may affect the way you're breathing or sensations in the physical body. Coming back to the bodily experience, moment by moment in this physical yoga. Let's start to deepen the breath. As you inhale a little slower, root down towards the earth. And as you exhale a little longer, lift up towards the sky. Continue to deepen your breath. Then what is it that you would like to focus on today? Begin to clarify your intention for this practice. Sometimes I like to simplify it with 1 or 2 words. Earlier this afternoon when I practiced, my intention was to be open and clear. Open and clear. So see if you can encapsulate your intention in just 1 or 2 words. Something that's easy to chant as a mental mantra whenever you need to bring your attention back to the present. And one way of setting aside the ego is to dedicate our efforts to someone else, a community, or a cause greater than ourselves, our individual selves. So take a moment perhaps to offer your efforts to someone or something. And let's open space, joining our voices in 3 chants of Om. Inhale deeply. Om. Om. Let's start to practice Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breathing technique, to steady our minds and to calm our bodies and minds. Closing your lips, sustain your breath evenly in and out through the nose while softly narrowing the back of your throat to create a gentle whispering sound. Listen to your breath as a means of steadying your mental focus. And as you take a look at your legs, place your left leg on top or in front of the right leg. And if your hips are okay with stacking your knees and ankles, you're going to be in double pigeon, then flex your feet. Otherwise, some way of bringing the right leg forward or on top. Root down through the pelvis, place the right hand behind it, and raise the left arm up. Deep breath in, lengthen your spine, and then keep your pelvis still. Exhale, twist to your right side and press the back of your left hand against your left foot. Press down to your hips, lift through the back of your neck, back of your skull, and exhale, turn your rib cage further. Couple more breaths. Feeling the twist happen beneath your lowest ribs and across your waistline. As you exhale, unwind, press your hips down and lift the chest. Exhale, hug in the belly and start to walk your hands forward to fold for a few breaths. So a couple of the physical themes that'll be happening throughout this practice is hip openers, or external rotation of your thighs at the hips, and spinal twists. On your next inhale, crawl your hands towards you to rise up and switch the cross of your legs, so the right leg forward or on top. Again, if you're stacking your ankles and knees, make sure to flex your feet. Place the left hand behind your pelvis, raise your right arm up, sit up tall as you breathe in. Turning at your waistline to the left, exhale, twist, and lower the right hand, the back of it, against your right foot. Lengthen your spine as you inhale. Twist a little more if you can as you exhale. As you breathe out, unwind your spine, root your hips, breathe in, lift your heart, hug the front ribs in, and exhale, begin to walk your hands forward and fold. Crawl your hands towards you and inhale, slowly rise up. Let's make our way to stand at the top of your mat in a forward fold, separating your feet at least hips distance apart and parallel to each other. Bend your knees and clasp your hands behind your lower back or hold a strap between the hands. Leaning your weight as far forward as you can balance. Inhale, lift your spine parallel to the ground. Draw your shoulder heads back. Exhale, bow even further. And with a little bend in the elbows, stretch your arms forward, away from your lower back, while lifting your shoulders up and dropping your head. Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Release your arms and bend the knees more. Drop your skull and inhale, slowly roll your spine upright to stand, joining your hands at your heart in mountain pose. Center in on your mantra or personal intention for your practice. And as you listen to your breath, let's flow to that pace. In Surya Namaskar C, inhale, sweep your arms forward, roll your shoulders back, and lifting your chest, gaze up. Exhale, bow from your hips, lower your fingertips, and inhale, step the left knee back to a kneeling lunge, look up. Hold your breath as you step into plank pose. Exhale, lower your knees, then your chest, then your chin, sticking the tailbone up. Inhale, slide your belly to the ground, cobra, coil your chest up. Exhale, lift your pelvis back to downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot beside your left thumb. Lower your back knee, look up. Exhale, step your right foot forward and bow. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, rise into a standing, gentle back bend. Exhale your hands to meet at your hearts. Slow, deep breaths. Inhale, sweep the arms up, coil your chest open. Exhale, forward fold. Lower your fingertips. Inhale, step your right knee back, look up. Holding your breath, step into plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest, then chin. Inhale, slide to the ground in cobra. Press the tops of your feet down. Exhale, tuck your toes and lift your hips to downward dog. Inhale, step your right foot beside your right thumb and lower your back knee, look up. Exhale, step your left foot forward and bow. Press through your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, rise into a standing back bend. Exhale, Padasana, hands at the heart. Sun salutation A. Inhale, arms forward, back bend at the top. Exhale, forward fold. Press into the ground, your shins are blocks. Inhale, raise your spine forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Step back to plank. Exhale, glide forward. Hug your elbows towards your ribs and Chaturanga Dandasana. Lower all the way for Cobra or flip the toes and coil up to upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Give yourself 5 breaths here if you want to move your body for a moment. Pedaling the feet in place, moving the skull gently if you need. Tune into your breath. Then bend your knees, look past your fingertips, empty this breath before you walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat into a forward fold. Press with your fingertips. Inhale, raise your spine forward halfway up. Exhale, fold in. Press with your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, rise into a standing back bend. Exhale to heart center. Let's keep this going twice more. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, lifting the heart. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, half fold. Step to plank and glide forward or float right into Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Cobra or Upward Facing Dog. Exhale, Downward Facing Dog. This time be still for 3 slow breaths. Steady your gaze. After the third exhale, walk or lightly jump to the top of your mat. Then inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Rooting down, inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana with a back bend. Exhale, Padasana, hands at the heart. One more time, Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen forward. Step back and glide forward to lower or float into Chaturanga. Inhale, Bhujangasana or Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, lift the hips to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Be still for 3 deep breaths. When you finish the third, walk or float to the front of your mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana with a heart lifted. Exhale, Padasana. Let's bring the inner edges of your feet to touch, preparing for chair pose as we take 2 continuous rounds of Surya Namaskar B, continuing our warm-up. Surya Namaskar B. Here we go. Take a deep breath, bend your knees, lean back to your heels, raise your arms, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Step or lightly jump into your Vinyasa. At Downward Facing Dog, keep your hips squared and inhale, raise your right leg back. Exhale, softly step the foot beside your right thumb and spin the back heel down. Facing forward, inhale, rise to Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Exhale, lower into your Vinyasa. Then at Downward Dog, keep your hips squared again. Inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhale, lightly step the foot beside your left thumb and spin the right heel down. Facing forward, inhale, rise up to Warrior 1. Exhale, lower into your Vinyasa. Pause in Downward Facing Dog for 3 breaths. Be in the experience of your physical body. Feel the sensations of your breath. When you finish the third exhale, walk or lightly jump your feet together at the top. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana with feet touching and knees touching. Inhale, sit into chair pose, Utkatasana. Exhale, rise up, Padasana. One more time. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Step or float into your Vinyasa. At Downward Facing Dog, inhale, raise the right leg, square your hips. Exhale the foot beside right thumb, spin the back heel down. Face forward, inhale, rise to warrior one. Exhale, lower into your vinyasa. When you arrive at downward dog, inhale, raise the left leg back, hips squared. Exhale the foot lightly beside your left thumb, drop the back heel. Inhale, rise up, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, lower into your vinyasa. At downward facing dog, pause for 3 breaths. Bring back your intention, your personal mantra, and feel physically what's here now. Let go of the mental interpretations of it. After the 3rd out breath, walk or float to the top of your mat. Then inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. With feet together and knees together. Inhale, sit low, Utkatasana. Exhale, rise up, Padasana. All right, let's take a moment in a forward fold. Separate your feet at least hips distance and parallel. Bring your hands to your hips and roll the shoulders back. Lift your heart, inhale, look up. Exhale, hinge from your hips. Try to create a flat back. You can bend the knees if needed. Tilt your weight towards the front of your heels. Cross your right forearm behind your right calf and take hold of the front of your left shin. Cross your left forearm behind your left calf and take hold of the front of your right shin. Drop your head, let it go, soften the neck, relax the jaw. Lift the shoulders up. Couple more deep breaths. Maybe switch the cross of the forearms. Whether you choose to take a vinyasa or step directly, let's meet in downward facing dog. Rolling your triceps towards the earth as you spread your fingers flat. Soften the back of your neck and gaze towards your feet. Listen to your breath. Step your feet together in downward dog so that your feet touch. Rotate your right leg externally at the hip and pick up your right foot to cross your right ankle in front of your left shin, below the knee, or in front of your left thigh above the knee, just not on the knee. And splay the right thigh open as you lift your sitting bones up and back. Hug your front ribs in, rolling your triceps towards the ground and relaxing your neck. Couple more breaths here. Deeply inhale, and as you exhale, tap your right knee outside of your right elbow or tricep. Stack your shoulders over your wrists. And step the right foot beside your right thumb and stay high on the ball of your left foot. Inhale, rise up to crescent lunge. Drop your left heel and align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot. Open your arms wide to warrior two, gazing past your right hand. Now let's stay a few breaths. Bend your front knee right over the ankle and rotate your right outer hip underneath you. Press the outer edge of your left foot deeply into the ground and firm the top of your left thigh bone back. Virabhadrasana 2. Keep the bend in your right knee, and for some of us, you might shorten your stance in just an inch. Glide your pelvis sideways towards your rear wall and reach your torso and right arm towards your front wall. lengthening the right side of your torso. Place the right hand on the right side of your right leg, directly under your right shoulder, on a block or on the ground. Extended side angle pose. Rotate your left shoulder so the tricep faces your left wall. That's the pinky finger side. Then sweep the left arm overhead while drawing both shoulder blades down your back, hugging your front ribs towards you as you spin your chest towards the sky. Land your eyes on one spot, and let's stay a few more breaths in Utthita Parsvakonasana. So let your right arm and your outer right thigh press against each other, causing your right glute to firm inward towards you. Listen to the quality of your breath. Look down in front of your right foot, and let's move into half moon pose. Crawl your right hand 6 inches forward and to the right of your right pinky toe. Drag your left foot in and flex it off the floor. Turn your chest to face your left wall, stacking your shoulders and wrists. Ardha Chandrasana. Keep coming back to your bodily experience. Feel the sensations as they are. Feel the breath coming and going. Bending your right knee, softly land your left foot to the back of your mat. Keep the right knee bent and flip the right palm up, sweeping it overhead towards your back wall in Peaceful Warrior. A side bend. Breathe into your right side body as you trace your right knee down the midline of your mat and hug in your front ribs. One more breath in. Exhale your hands to the floor. Let's meet in downward facing dog, whether you choose to flow or not in between. Slowing down your breath, invite balance. In downward facing dog, bring your feet together to touch. Then turn out your left thigh at the hip. Flex your left foot and cross your left ankle below or above your right knee against your leg, splaying your left thigh open. Lift your hips high and back and wrap your triceps towards the ground, softening the back of your neck. A few more breaths. Deep inhale. Exhale, touch your left knee outside your left upper arm in plank. Then step the foot inside of the left hand. Stay on the ball of your right foot. Inhale, rise to crescent lunge. Spin your right heel down and align your left heel to the arch of your right foot. Open your arms apart into Warrior Two. Now let's stay a few breaths. Steady your gaze past your left hand. Bend your left knee right above your left heel and rotate your left outer hip under you. Firm your outer right foot into the earth and press the top of your right thigh bone back. Virabhadrasana 2. Keep the bend in your left knee, perhaps shorten your stance just about an inch. Glide your hips towards the rear edge of your mat and reach your left hand and head towards the front wall. Place your left hand on the left side of your left leg, directly under your left shoulder. Rotate your right tricep to face the right wall and sweep your right arm overhead. Draw both shoulders down your back and rotate your chest towards the sky. Extended side angle pose. Utthita Parsvakonasana. Land your eyes with focus. And let's witness what's here in the body for a few more breaths. Gaze down in front of your left foot. Walk your left hand 6 inches forward and to the left of it. Ardha Chandrasana. Drag your right foot forward and flex it off the floor. Half moon pose. Again, steady your gaze, your drishti. And notice when any of those kleshas start to arise. Aversion, running away from an experience. Attachment, clinging to an experience. Fear of falling is often related to fear of death. Keeping your breath going, bend your left knee and softly step your right foot all the way back. Flip your left palm to face up and side bend towards your rear wall. Peaceful warrior. Keep pointing your left knee down the center line of your mat and hugging your front ribs in towards your back. One more deep breath into your left side body. Exhale your hands to the ground. Optional flow. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Few deep breaths here. Now, as you keep your hips even in height or squared, inhale, raise your right leg behind you. This time, keep your shoulders squared too and cross the right knee to touch your left elbow or tricep. Stay in the twist and extend your right leg straight to the left side, lowering the outer foot on the ground as you flex it. Spin your left heel to the floor and stack your right shoulder above your right wrist. Fall in triangle. Push off the ground and raise your left arm up. Maybe sweep the left arm overhead. Maybe hover the right foot off the floor. A few more breaths here. Place your left hand beside the right. Sweep your right leg behind you. Breathe in. Exhale, round forward and step the foot beside your right thumb. Kneeling lunge, lower the back knee. Legs hips width apart, raise your arms overhead, stacking your right knee directly above the heel. Take hold of your left wrist with your right hand. Inhale, lift your spine a little taller, but send the shoulders down. Keep your legs still. Exhale, side bend to the right for a few breaths. Lift your spine upright and cup the top of your right thigh with your right hand, preparing for a twist. Inhale, stretch your spine forward down the center line of your mat. Exhale, rotate your rib cage to the right. See if you're able to hook the left elbow outside of your right thigh and join your hands in prayer or open the arms apart. Otherwise, place the left hand on the floor or block on the inner side of your right leg. Then you can choose whether or not to keep your left knee on the ground. You might come into a high lunge in this twist, this variation of Parita Parsvakonasana, or revolved side angle pose. Feel the balance in your breath and keep cultivating it. Stay in your twist and look at the ground in front of your right toes. Very slow transition. We're going to lift the back leg parallel to the floor as you stay in the twist, maybe, so that you're in a revolved half moon pose while stepping the left foot forward into a revolved chair pose. So take your time coming into twisting chair. With both feet touching, both knees touching, twisting to the right, sink your hips lower than your heart. Now, option to come into twisting crow while you're here, or to stay in twisting chair, and perhaps come into crow pose, the regular crow. When you're done, standing forward fold. From Uttanasana, press your hands down. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, lift your chest. Step back to downward facing dog. Keep your hips even as you inhale to raise your left leg back. Keep your shoulders even as you cross the left knee to touch your right elbow or tricep in plank. Then stay here and extend the left leg straight to the right. Flex the foot and land the outer foot on the ground. Spin the right heel down. And with left shoulder stacked above left wrist, raise your right arm for fallen triangle. Maybe you hover the left foot. Maybe you raise the right arm overhead. Send the shoulders down your back and root down to rise up. A few more breaths. Place your right hand at the top of your mat. Swing the left leg back, breathe in. Exhale, round forward and step the left foot beside your left thumb. Lower your back knee to a kneeling lunge. Inhale, rise up. So with your legs hips width apart and your left knee stacked above your left heel, take hold of your right wrist with your left hand. Inhale, lift your spine taller. Exhale, begin to side bend to the left. Keep pointing your left knee forward. Inhale, lift your spine up. Cup the top of your left thigh with your left hand. Exhale, lengthen your spine forward and twist to the left. See if you can do the same version of the twist as you did on the first side. Hook the elbow, hands in prayer, or arms apart. Or place the right hand on the ground or floor or block on the inside of your leg. Maybe you come into a high lunge in Parita Parshvakonasana. Focus on keeping your hips even in height so that you're not twisting the pelvis, you're twisting at your waistline. Stay in your twist, keep the breath steady, and gaze just ahead of your left foot. Take your time as slow as you can to lift the right leg, flexing the foot, maybe balancing in midair in revolved half moon before you enter revolved chair. In revolved chair, bring your feet together, your knees together. Sink your hips lower than your heart. Keep your knees in one line as you turn your chest to the left. Parita Utkatasana. Option to move into revolved crow here. Option to move into regular crow facing the front. Eventually, this time let's meet standing up, pausing in mountain pose. Perhaps a hand to the heart, a hand to the lower belly for a few deep breaths. Tune into your bodily experience. And let go of any mental stories interpreting it. Feel the breath as it is. So with your feet hips width apart, parallel, bring your hands to your hips, roll the shoulders back, inhale, and then exhale, forward fold. Feel free to bend your knees as you lift your toes and slip your palms face up under the soles of your feet. And try to get your toes to meet the inner creases of your wrists as we stretch the outer wrists in Padahastasana. Lean forward, inhale, lift your chest through your upper arms. Keep leaning forward and exhale, bow further from your hips, dropping your head. If you're able to, bend the elbows apart and lift the shoulders up. Lengthen the neck. Few breaths here. Soften the jaw, soften the muscles in your face. Let the spine unwind. Slip the palms out from under and bring your feet together to touch. Bend your knees, sink your hips, chair pose. Join your hands at your heart. This time, turn out your left thigh at the hip and cross your left ankle over your right thigh like a figure four. Evenly draw your hips back, slowly, hugging the front ribs in. You could opt to place your fingertips on blocks or the ground in front of you, or from here, add another twist, an option to move into an arm balancing twist as well. Let's take it one step at a time. Place the right hand on your sacrum, keep the pelvis squared forward, lengthen the spine as you breathe in. Exhale, twist to the right at your waistline. Press the back of your left hand against your left flexed foot. Stay here or sink the hips deeper and slide your left upper arm against your left flexed foot. Maybe join the hands in prayer as you twist. Or entering grasshopper, an arm balance. Place the hands along the right edge of your mat facing the right wall. Bend the elbows towards the left wall. Lean the outer right thigh against your upper arms and extend the right leg towards the front of the room. Grasshopper pose. A spinal twisting, hip opening, arm balance. Come back, figure four, chair pose, and rise up into Padasana. Hands together at the heart. Pause for a few breaths. Feel the aliveness of your physical body. All right, second side. Bend your knees together, feet together in chair. Join your hands at your heart and turn out your right thigh at the hip. Flex the right foot and cross the ankle over your left thigh, drawing your hips evenly back and down slowly. Hug your front ribs in, keep your breath steady. You might opt to place your fingertips on blocks or the floor, or prepare to enter a twist. Placing the left hand at the middle of your lower back, keep the pelvis squared. Inhale, lengthen your spine, and at your waistline, twist to the left, pressing the back of your right hand against your right flexed foot. Stay here or sink the hips lower and place your right upper arm against your right flexed foot. Either joining the hands in prayer or placing the hands along the left edge of your mat facing the left wall. Leaning towards the left wall, placing the outer left thigh against the upper arms and straightening the left leg towards the front wall. Grasshopper pose. Take your time transitioning back to the figure four chair pose. Rising up into Padasana. Hands at the heart. Few deep breaths. Let go of the mind talk. Be here with the breath and the sensations in your body directly. Let's lower onto our shins. Preparing for our back bends, our last back bends with Supine Hero. Sitting on your calves, notice how this feels. If it's a bit sensitive on your knees, you can sit on a block between your ankles instead. Make sure your toes are pointed back. The feet are not turned out. If you're okay with sitting directly on your calves, you might gently move them aside and sit on the ground between your ankles. And to whatever degree, for about 15 breaths, start to lean your torso back. Further stretching into the front of your thighs, front of your hips, in Supta Virasana. You might use props to catch your torso behind you, or you might lie onto the floor. Try to keep your knees grounded and no wider apart than your hips distance. Seal the bottom of your front ribs in towards your back and pubic bone, and lengthen your tailbone down and forward towards the space between your knees. About 10 more deep breaths here. Gently begin to rise up. Take your time. And let's come to stand on our knees for 2 rounds of Ustrasana, camel pose. You might begin by tucking your toes. That's a good way to start with more support. And you might also hug a skinny block between your knees and thighs. Backstroke your arms to prepare your shoulders for this back bend. Place your hands on your lower back, fingertips face down, and gently press your hips forward, keeping your pelvis stacked right above your knees, the whole pose. Bend your inner thighs slightly towards the back wall, while lengthening your tailbone downward towards the ground between the knees. Lift the back ribs, inhale, lift your chest, and roll the front of your shoulders back. Keep breathing as you hug the elbows closer together and coil your chest up. Back bending mostly from right under your shoulder blades. If available, backstroke one arm and catch the heel behind it. Maybe both arms or switch arms. Stay for a total of 5 to 7 breaths of your count. When you decide to come out of camel pose, place both hands on your lower back and roll your spine upright. You might use the block as a stool to sit on between your ankles as you rest for 3 breaths. Perhaps taking Lotus Mudra, channeling energy from Anahata, your heart center. Stay with the sensations in your body. Feel the sensations of the breath. Constantly coming back to the direct experience you're having. Let's take our last camel pose, with or without the block, toes tucked or tops of the feet flat in the ground. Hands in the lower back. Take it on your own for 5 to 7 breaths. Keep the hips forward. Even here, try to seal in the bottom front ribs. And then again, let's meet sitting. Maybe hands at the heart in Lotus Mudra. 3 deep breaths. Two last back bends. Come onto our backs. Grab a block if you want to use it for bridge pose and or upward facing bow. As you line your back, bend your knees and step your feet about hips distance apart and parallel to each other. It's useful to support the lower back by hugging the block skinny width in between your knees and thighs. Bring your arms down by your sides close to your rib cage and slide your feet back until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite. And like in camel pose, spin your inner thighs slightly towards the floor. Energetically drag your heels towards your glutes without moving the feet. As you lift the pelvis, bridge, slide the upper arms under your ribs, bring the hands closer together, maybe they clasp. Upward bow, bend the elbows towards the sky, flip the palms face down by your ears, and come onto the crown of your head, keeping the elbows wider apart than hips distance. Rest off your hands and feet. You're going to Urdhva Dhanurasana. Take this back bend for a count of 5 to 7 breaths before you lower onto your back slowly to rest. Refrain from hugging your knees into your chest. Not until we've done our spinal twists at the end. You might drop the knees apart. Rest a hand on your heart center, a hand at your lower belly for 3 breaths. Take your choice for the last back bend. Bridge, Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, or upward facing bow, Urdhva Dhanurasana. On your own for 5 to 7 breaths. We'll meet again in Supta Baddha Konasana. A hand to the heart, a hand to the lower belly, soles of the feet together. 3 breaths to rest. Bring your hands to your outer thighs. Bring the knees together, wrapping the right leg over the left like eagle pose. Let's prepare for our supine spinal twist. Slide your pelvis 3 to 4 inches towards the right edge of your mat and open your right arm wide on the floor. Lift your feet, ground your right shoulder and twist to the left side. Perhaps you gazed over your right shoulder, stretching your neck. Send your right outer hip forward. Deepening a stretch in your lower back. One more deep breath here. Unravel to center. Switch the cross of your legs. Slide your pelvis closer to the left edge of your mat. Open your left arm wide on the ground. Keep the shoulder rooted. Lift your feet and twist to the right. You might gaze past your left shoulder. Send your left outer hip away from your torso, towards the front edge of your mat. And to help cool down, try breathing out longer than you breathe in. Inhaling for 5 counts and exhaling for 7 counts. After this exhalation, roll onto your back and uncross your legs. Hug your bent knees into your chest, rocking side to side, forward and back. Make your way up to sit for seated forward fold. Straighten both legs in front of you and flex your feet. Choose to either use a strap around the balls of your feet or to walk your hands down your legs and maybe clasp your big toes. Sit up tall, breathe in. Exhale, little by little, hinge forward from your hips, hugging the front ribs in and keeping a slight lift at your chest. Paschimottanasana. Breathing out slower than you breathe in for 5 more cycles of breath. When you're ready, press down to your sitting bones. Lead from your chest. Inhale, slowly rise up. Lowering onto your back. Set your body up for a restful 5 minutes of stillness in Shavasana. Let your feet flop apart wider than your hips distance. Turn the palms up by your sides, landing the shoulders down. Close your eyes and free the breath to its natural flow.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Resting here a little longer. Keep your eyes closed and observe the sensations in your body now. Feel your own energy through the quality of your natural breath.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Observe your mental and emotional state as well.
Hare Rama, Hare
You're
Rama,
tuning in.
Rama Rama,
Begin to move your fingers,
Hare Hare,
gently your head,
Hare Krishna, Hare
slowly your
Krishna,
feet.
Krishna
And
Krishna,
just like that, gradually wake up your body.
Hare
Turn
Rama,
over slowly to your right side
Hare Rama,
and rest your head on your arm for a few breaths.
Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
As you're ready, press into the ground. Lift your body up.
Hare Rama,
Find a comfortable way to sit for 5 minutes in meditation.
Rama Rama,
You might prop your pelvis up on your folded blanket or block.
Hare Krishna.
Close your eyes or steady a soft gaze ahead and rest your hands in any mudra or gesture that helps you to be aware, to be present in your body. And let the breath flow naturally. With each natural out breath, relax deeper and deeper into stillness. your eyes are closed, keep them closed. And just expand your attention to your physical body as a whole, then to the space surrounding your physical body, what you're sitting on, the air around you. And sense the way you've affected your whole being through your yoga practice today. Remember the intention that you started with. Breathe that in, the feeling of it. And if you dedicated your practice to someone or something, call them to mind and maybe visualize them receiving benefit from your practice. And together, let's join our voices to close, chanting 3 ohms. Inhale deeply. Bow in towards your heart center, acknowledging the light within. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.